Tamara Wilson is the star of Opera Australia's production of Aida. She was offered the role when she was 25 and she's now only 27. This is her role debut and she is a meteoric star on the rise.
I got offered this part about 2 years ago, and the artistic administrator at Houston Grand Opera, who was in charge of the studio where I worked, got a call from someone here, I have no idea who hired me, and said, we'd like her to be in Aida. So I was in Aspen at the time, and she called and she said, you got an offer to do Aida? And I was like, the priestess? Because I'd done that before. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, she's like, no, Aida. And I was like, oh, really? Okay, where? Opera Australia. No. I said no at first, and she goes, okay, I'm going to give you 3 days to think about this, and then call me, and then we'll talk again. Right. So I talked to all of my teachers, all of my coaches, conductors that I worked with, and I was like, is this a good idea or a bad idea? You know, what do you think? And all of them went, well, you can sing it. There's no doubt about that, but people are going to give you a lot of grief about your age. And I was like, yeah, but I've kind of grown up with that my whole life, yeah. So it's kind of natural. And she goes, well, if in 2 years you find out you can't do it, then you can always cancel. And I was like, okay, all right. Honestly, I found out when I could sing it when I got to our first musical rehearsal with Maestro. I was so nervous, thinking, honestly, he didn't know how old I was, which was a good thing. It wasn't until the end of the week he was like, how old are you? 27? What? Yeah, so, but he got over that. Singing it for myself in the practice room, I knew I could sing the notes. That wasn't an issue. It was more of an issue of having the maturity and the musical style down to do it. And that actually came through coaching with Maestro and the various coaches here. I like to prepare. I'm a big preparer. This is ridiculous. I'm a huge note taker.
You're a highlighter.
I do, because when I'm coaching it, I know exactly. I've memorized by color. Mm-hmm. So I know exactly on the page whose line it is and that kind of stuff. But my scores are just so completely.
Pen.
Oh yeah, I know. I figure if it gets bad, I'll just buy a new score. Keep recording business, right?
Well, for Verdi, though.
Yeah, exactly. But all the notes in here. This role, Aida, has a ginormous range. You have to do lyric singing, really powerful singing, and light singing at certain times. Hard parts are whenever the emotion gets really, really dramatic and you want to totally, just give everything you got, but you have to be controlled and actually make sure you're singing correctly and pretty. Those are the hard parts for me, because all you want to do is just sing your guts out.
Let your emotions come into it?
Very much so. At the last show, it was right after the triumphal scene, and Amonasro is discovered that he's alive and he's been captured. And for some reason, in the last show, I totally was really emotional about things, and we get to this one point and I'm over by Michael, who's playing Amonasro, and I turned to him and he goes, your mascara's running. And I was like, oh, and he's wiping my makeup off, and I totally started crying. It was awesome, but at the same time, not what you want to do on stage. I don't know about you, but when I go to a show, I want to come home with something, in me that was stirred. Honestly, the music is already there. The emotion is stirred in the music. Yeah. All we have to do is ride on top of that and make sure we're true to what we're doing.